Did this crypto crash end the bull market prematurely? Is Bitcoin dead? And where are we headed to from here? Hey guys, Sheldon Evans here, welcome back. Or if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on all of those bell notifications. As you know, it really does help this channel grow. As well as if you find any of this information useful, please give the video a thumbs up too. Right, so on my display right now, I have the Bitcoin US dollar chart open, and I'm sure you are all very well aware of the huge correction, dump, market disaster, whatever you want to call it, that we experienced over the past 48 hours. Many people, experienced traders and inexperienced traders alike, lost a lot of money on this dump and capitulated at the very bottom of the dump, which is unfortunate. This is what happens. The market shakes you out, and it's designed to do that. This whole thing is designed to do that, and we'll cover in a second as to what caused the dump, what potentially caused the dump. But in essence, this was coming. This is what we needed. The market needs these moves. It needs these corrections to move healthily towards the upside. This is not entirely out of the norm. These larger corrections in excess of 30 to 40, maybe even 50% like we saw here, is a very normal phenomena that happens during a bull run. And the problem that we've had up until this point is the corrections that we have had have been somewhat large, between 20 and 30%, which is not much different from previous bull runs, although slightly smaller. Although those dumps were eaten up very, very quickly, meaning institutions and retail investors were buying up those dips very quickly and not giving the market enough time to capture that liquidity at the bottom of that dump and have a healthier, slower move to the upside. They were buying, dipping and buying in a single candle. What happens then is that pressure, or that selling pressure, needs to go somewhere. So it moves further into the future and we have larger corrections like we had now. Now I've got a few key levels lined up here, which I'll cover in a second. But essentially what I want to cover is that this dump is slightly larger than what we've experienced in the past. Currently at 19 on the fear and greed index. It was as low as 11, which is only rivaled by the March 2020 dump of last year of 2020, where the beginning of the pandemic started and many people got very, very scared, sold all of their crypto. They didn't actually know what was happening, and it shook a lot of people out of the market during that time. But shortly after that, we did see a very strong parabolic move to the upside, which is basically where we are right now, seeing Bitcoin all the way up to $65,000 from that initial dump. So we could likely see a strong recovery to the upside from here, but we do have some key levels that we need to keep an eye on, which is the $39,000 level that we're at right now, which it seems to be holding. If we go over to the hourly chart, we did have a slight dump in the past hour below that. If we close below this, it's very likely we continue downwards to the $34,000, $35,000, and $33,000 level. Now, if we don't close and use this as support, it's likely we'll continue going downwards. But that's all this is. It's just probabilities. Do we convert these into support or resistance? That's all it is, a game of support and resistance. If we close below this, this becomes a support. If we break it, it becomes a resistance. Same here. If we use it as support, it's likely we're going to continue up to the upside, test this, and break and break and break. That's pretty much all we're going to be doing with these levels that I have highlighted here. But in the short term, it's very likely that we're going to see a move to the downside. We're going to see a prolonged correction. We haven't seen one of these in this bull run just yet. It does give room for the lengthening cycle theory, which is what I believe. The thing is that this bull run has been filled so far with a lot of FOMO, a lot of retail investment, hype around NFTs, hype around Ethereum and Bitcoin, and institutions FOMOing into that, meaning that we've had this very strong, very quick move to the upside. Rather, we would have a slower, more gradual, organic move to that sustainable $100,000, sustainable $50,000, wherever it is that we get to. We want that timeline to be extended. So generally, we have these lengthening cycles. 2017 was longer than the previous bull run. We want this one to be longer than the previous 2017 bull run. And if we can achieve that, it means that we're very likely going to have this bull run move all the way, the peak into 2022, possibly even towards the end of 2022. Many people are predicting that the blow off top will be this year, that we'll reach $300,000 for Bitcoin this year. That is highly unlikely, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense that that would happen. We would have to have extreme FOMO, extreme retail investment in the market. And I don't think we can even reach that point, because we would have a blow off top much sooner than that, because of tons of money rushing to the market. And it just sustainably, the chart cannot handle that. Technically, that can't happen. So That being said, I think let's just wait it out. We don't have any confirmation just yet of where we're going. We're going to have some chop for a couple weeks, a couple months even possibly. But the thing is that we have a lot of fundamental news coming on later this year. And that is why I still truly believe that we'll have a longer cycle, that the cycle will be pushed longer. So we've had a lot of hype leading up until this point, but we have a lot of fundamentally good news later in the year. We have parachains coming for Polkadot and Kusama. We've got EIP 1559 coming for Ethereum. We've got smart contracts coming for Cardano. These huge milestones, huge data points that are coming for these massive cryptocurrencies later on in the year, which I believe is we'll move slowly towards that date, or to those dates and to those points and those announcements until they get implemented. And then from there, we'll have a slower, more sustainable move to the upside, and maybe the second round or the second stage of hype and FOMO before we eventually blow off at the top. So I want to get into what has caused this dump. Of course, I've shared this on Twitter, so if you aren't yet, go and follow me over at Twitter at Sheldon Evans. This was an interesting piece of information that was shared on 4chan, basically a degen forum site. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of scary if you haven't been there for a while, but it can be quite a crazy place. Now, of course, all of these are theories. They're all conspiracies. Don't take these to heart, but it's fun to speculate on what has caused the market dump and why it happened. And maybe it was manipulation. Maybe there are higher powers, there are people that know things more than us that cause these dumps. But please be aware, this is all speculation. It's just for fun. Essentially what had happened was there was a series of posts on a thread on 4chan saying that somebody, an insider, knew that they are trying to short the market. They're trying to push it down to the exact levels that it was pushed down to at the exact time that it was going to be pushed down to in order to liquidate one certain shareholder. And that shareholder has been presumed to be Justin Sun. And he had a $1 billion position that in fact wasn't liquidated. So that's why they're saying they were going to push it down again, even lower, which is what we've seen happen over the past few hours. We saw another dump. But again, this is all sort of speculation. It's all fun. It's all games. But whether we like it or not, whether this news happens at the correct time, whether the news just happens at the perfect time, we get the news right here to push the market down. We get the news right here to push the market down. These things sort of all coincide. The chart is just a play on human emotions. This is just a chart of human emotions of the news in the market. It's not magic that they coincide with the actual news events. These are humans that are trading these charts. So it makes sense that it coincides with the news and things that happen in the charts. Now, please be aware that it's very easy to fake this stuff. That's why I did include a source. It came originally from CryptoBurb, but I did include the source on my tweet as well. So if you do want to go see the forum for yourself. But the thing is, like I said, this can be faked very easily. Be aware of these screenshots now that there's some validity to it. People have seen that, oh, perhaps this is true. You're going to see a ton of additional screenshots coming out of people saying that they know something, that they're an insider, because they do want attention and it seems to be fun for them to play with the market this way. So please check your sources, do your own research, get your tinfoil hats on, but don't take anything to heart. We don't have any proof of any of this stuff. It's just fun to speculate with. But let's talk about where we are in the bull run, how far we are along and where we're headed. So you'll see that I have some tweets from Raoul Pal, and he is saying that these might be useful for you, Bitcoin now versus 2013. So this is Bitcoin's current chart in alignment with 2013. You see that we had a dump before a strong move to the upside, pretty much identical to the 2013 chart. Same with 2017. Very, very similar price action with a dump in around the 6th month, then moving upwards. So we have very, very similar movements to the previous bull run. This is not completely out of the norm, even though the percentages and the percentage moves might be different. It's very much on track to where we expect it to be going. And we do have additional tweets from GMI, which is Raoul Pal's investment firm. And this is from Remy, and he basically covers that everything is on track from the exponential trend that started in March 2020. Now, I mentioned this in the beginning of the video that at the original dump in March 2020, we began a very strong move to the upside to the now all-time high of $65,000-ish. So it seems everything is on track. If the crypto market were to go sideways for the next 6 to 7 weeks, we would be at the bottom of the trend right before EIP 1559. So this is a logarithmic chart showing our current price movement and price growth up until this point. If we were to continue moving down, we'd be at the bottom of this trend right as EIP 1559 comes along, which will improve Ethereum tenfold, many times, and improve the fee structure and the mining structure and move Ethereum to proof of stake. So we will have a lot of additional interest in Ethereum at that point, which I'll cover in the later on in the video as well, as to why there would be additional interest in Ethereum. But essentially what he's saying is that things are going perfectly according to plan. For the past few weeks, we've got a lot of FUD, and this is exactly what I said. The FUD seems to pile on each other over and over and over again at the same time. So it all comes at once. We've got Elon debating whether or not Bitcoin is good for the market, for sustainability, if it's used renewable energy, if it's a green cryptocurrency. So there's a lot of bad news there. We obviously get China banning cryptocurrency 100,000 times. It happens every year. It happens every bull run. They ban it over and over and over again. Then we have regulation from the US. And this is all just FUD. This is all news to push the market down. And it comes over and over again. You'll see that I'll talk later in the video about China banning Bitcoin. It just seems to be banned 100 times over and over again. It just never gets banned. So instead, you know what I've said in the past, that if you are banning Bitcoin or banning cryptocurrency, essentially you're banning yourself from that cryptocurrency. You can't deny the future growth and the world-changing technology that is blockchain. So I don't believe that any of this will have much of a long-term impact on crypto. Then we can see that last year COVID provoked a massive sell event across all asset classes, which is the same as what happened with Bitcoin over the past 48 hours, where we had that candle and bounce back up. The intraday volatility was negative 31% on Wednesday, which is the biggest intraday volatility since March 2020, which also coincides with the lowest drop in the fear and greed index. And as we know, when others are fearful, be greedy, and when others are greedy, be fearful. And that's exactly what we've seen with the chart over the past few weeks. When everyone was euphoric, when everyone was greedy, right at the top of the chart, everyone thought we were going to go up forever. That is when it turned around and came back down. Now everybody's fearful. This is the time to buy, to go back up. But don't buy just yet. We don't have any confirmation. Just like I've said, we don't actually know exactly which way the market's going to be going just yet. It's very likely it's going to be very choppy for the next couple of weeks or couple of months. And then he just reiterates what I said from the original Rob Powell tweet. Now, in this time, what are we doing? If I'm not buying, if I'm not selling, what am I doing with my cryptocurrency? I'm earning interest in it. Now, I've spoken about this many times before. There's many different ways to make your cryptocurrency work for you, make your money work for you. You can farm with it, you can provide liquidity, or you can earn interest by depositing it in something like this, like Swissborg. I've spoken in the past about BlockFi. There's many different things like this. You can stake on Binance, you can stake on crypto.com, you can earn interest on your cryptocurrency. But Swissborg at the moment seems to be providing one of the most competitive rates, up to 37.5% on your cryptocurrency. I'm not associated with Swissborg. I don't get paid by them. I am an affiliate. So if you do use the link down in the description below, you'll get a bonus, and so will I. So if you do want to try this out, if you do believe in the long-term value of cryptocurrency and want to earn interest on it, lock it up in Swissborg, earn some interest on it, forget about the charts for a little while, don't let it play with your emotions, and instead sit back and relax and let your crypto work for you. Then I want to cover one of my favorite metrics for checking how far along in the bull market we are, and that is the NUPL chart, the net unrealized profit and loss chart for Bitcoin. Now, I've mentioned this in the past many times on this channel, but essentially when we reach this euphoric stage, the stage of blue, this is when we see these larger corrections and these larger dumps in the market. And if we do reach this point, generally that means an entire turnaround of the market. It enters or signals a bear run, right? So in 2013, we had the two market cycle tops, the two peaks we had here and here. And in 2017, we had the one peak right in December 2017. And from that point, we basically went all the way down, all the way to the March low of 2020. So when we reach this euphoric stage, generally, it's a bad sign. It's a bad thing because it means the market is too overheated and there's no coming back from it. Now, we got very close to that over the past few months with the euphoria and the hype and people buying into the market. There's just been a lot of good news for cryptocurrency and people have been making a lot of money. So that lent itself to a lot of the hype. But fortunately, we've had a bit of a turnaround. We've had this turnaround here where we're coming back to the yellow zone, a zone that is healthier for us. It's a zone of optimism and eventually anxiety. So people are unsure which way the market's going to go. Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? But generally, the overall outlook is pretty good for the market. So as long as we reset this NUPL chart now and again, it means that we've still got a lot of room to move to the upside. And I believe that we might trend a little bit lower which is what I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And if we do that, it's very likely that we'll have a second peak, a double peak, and this bull market will be akin to that of 2013 rather than 2017, where we had one peak. We'd rather have two peaks extended across multi-year time frame, so 2021 and 2022, which wouldn't be a problem for me. The longer the bull market is, same for you as well, the more opportunity there is. There's more time for you to build up your bags. There's more time for you to build up your positions and earn interest on your crypto. That is if you even plan selling in the bull run, right? But of course, there's diamond hands, people who will never sell ever. I don't really believe or subscribe to that notion. I do think that there is going to come a time when most people should take profit, as well as taking profit along on the way up, which is what I've mentioned before as well. I mentioned that on Twitter, that when we see these dumps like this, think to yourself and ask yourself, why was I greedy? Why didn't I take profits on the way up? Why wasn't I laddering out to eventually buy back in lower? Instead, you sell right at the bottom, right on the tip of that capitulation candle before the bounce back up, and you think you're an idiot. So rather take profits along the way, and you'll be much calmer, and you'll handle the bull market much better. Then I want to talk about big institutional investors are dumping Bitcoin and going back into gold, JP Morgan says. So these are the sort of news headlines that I've talked about that are FUD, that are kind of negative, kind of used to scare you. And the thing is that all of this is market manipulation, right? All of the news headlines you see, all of the YouTube videos that you see, pretty much everything that you see is market manipulation in some form or another, whether it's pumping the market upwards or downwards, following one person's or group of people or institutions' agenda, right? They're going to push the market and manipulate it in a way that benefits them. So right now we've got negative news. So it seems that it's good for institutions and larger people to push the market in the direction that they would like to, which is downwards, so that they can either buy in lower because they sold the top. Now, I'm sure you've seen this Wyckoff distribution all over YouTube lately from a channel called I'll link it down in the description below, but essentially this guy covered what the Wyckoff distribution is and how the market is manipulated by larger powers in order to maximize their holdings and steal basically from retail investors. And that's essentially what all of this is. It's market manipulation, pushing the market in the direction that they like. But the reason that I want to highlight this article in particular is that we've got this news coming from JP Morgan, one of the biggest banks in the world. We have to believe them, of course, that they're correct, right? But the thing is that JP Morgan has been fined $1.26 billion for manipulating precious metals and the treasury market in the past. And this is not a one-time thing. They are known manipulators of the market. They've been fined. They've just had a small slap on the wrist. $1.26 billion is nothing for them when they're probably making tens, even hundreds of billions of dollars from this market manipulation. So this is not something that you should believe. It's not something that you should buy into. When we do have proof in the past that they have been fined for this, it's not that they won't do this again because they've been fined. They make a ton more money than they are fined. So just think for yourself again. I always say this, I said this in the previous video as well, is think for yourself, think about what's going on in the market and where it's headed, why you bought into cryptocurrency, what the overall vision is, where we're going in the future, and then look at the headlines after that and decide for yourself whether or not it's true or not. Then we also have Hong Kong regulators set to ban retail Bitcoin trading. This is essentially what was designed to send the market dipping earlier today, which didn't actually work. So instead, we had some additional tweets on Twitter from people saying that China is going to ban Bitcoin entirely again. And this China ban FUD comes over and over and over again. It seems to never end. Eventually, China may ban Bitcoin, but at this point, at this rate, it doesn't seem so. They just seem to use it as news to manipulate the market. So essentially what this article is saying is that China wants to ban retail traders from participating in cryptocurrency trading and instead only allow those high net worth individuals, I think $3 million or $8 million at least. 8 million Hong Kong dollars, which is about $1 million, to qualify as professional traders to be allowed to trade in cryptocurrency. This is a stupid rule in my opinion. I think everybody should be able to participate in cryptocurrency trading. And again, it's just some sort of somebody trying to push their agenda, trying to show that they're important and say that this is what people should be doing. So what they want to do is limit crypto trading in Hong Kong to persons with a portfolio of at least $1 million, which is kind of dumb. If you're in cryptocurrency and you want to grow your portfolio, why can't you start with $5? That's the whole amazing thing with cryptocurrency, is that you can start with as much money as you like, $10, $20, $100, doesn't matter. It's for everyone. It should be for everyone. It shouldn't be limited to anyone, especially professional investors. Leverage trading, on the other hand, perhaps there should be a ban on that for retail investors. But for regular buying and holding long term, there's no reason anyone should be limited from that. Then we have additional FUD from our good old friend Vitalik, the creator of Ethereum. And he's saying that crypto might be in a bubble, Bitcoin may get left behind due to its power usage. And this is, again, pushing a variety of different narratives. We've spoken about the green energy thing and how Elon Musk has sort of pushed that and sort of sparked that narrative right now that cleaner and greener cryptocurrencies may come to the forefront and overtake Bitcoin, which is why when we saw that initial Bitcoin dump of Elon saying that he no longer supports Bitcoin or Tesla won't be accepting Bitcoin because it's not good for the environment, we saw cryptocurrencies like Cardano and Ethereum not dump as much because they are moving over, well, at least Ethereum is moving over to proof of stake, but Cardano is a proof of stake cryptocurrency, meaning that it's much more energy efficient than Bitcoin. It's a completely different mechanism. So we have proof of work versus proof of stake. Again, these are somewhat debatable. We don't actually know truly how much renewable energy is used for Bitcoin. There's arguments saying that there's 70% or 75% renewable energy used for Bitcoin or sustainable energy. And then there's other arguments saying that it's not. So we do need some more concrete evidence of how much energy is used to mine Bitcoin, which cryptocurrency is greener than the other. Does that really matter in the short term? Eventually, perhaps we'll move to a more sustainable future for cryptocurrency, but what is more important, the environment, sustainability, or sound money? Now, of course, I'm not one to comment on that. I don't know. I don't subscribe to either. I believe in a sustainable future. I believe that cryptocurrency should be an important factor in our lives. I believe blockchain is a very important invention for our modern times. So both sides of the coin seem to apply here. It just depends on where we will see this going. And we have additional from Greenpeace saying that they're going to stop accepting Bitcoin donations over environmental concerns. So there's a lot of news surrounding this whole environmental thing right now, sustainability around cryptocurrency. But it just seems very strange that it happens in the middle of a bull market when this has been going on for many, many years. And we do have spikes, obviously, in mining power during a bull market because miners, there's a lot of more interest in cryptocurrency. Miners are holding their crypto. So there's a lot of weird news that happens during a bull market that might not necessarily happen during a bear market when there's less interest in crypto. So a lot of this will fade off if we move into additional bear market, but hopefully we have a sustainable long run for crypto over the next year or two. And then finally, I just want to highlight Bitcoin's obituaries. So I've spoken about this before, but Bitcoin has been declared at the current rate 414 times. So when we saw this dump yesterday, there's going to be a lot of news scaring you out. Bitcoin was declared dead. The harsh truth about crypto from MSN. But just a week ago, Bitcoin was to be taken behind the barn and shot on Twitter. A few weeks ago, we had Bitcoin, you're buying into obsolescence. That's just in the last 3 months. If we go all time, Bitcoin has been declared many times, been declared dead all throughout the bear market, all throughout the bull market of 2017, and again in 2019. It's just hundreds of times. We've had this bull market declared, Bitcoin declared dead probably how many times in this year? Probably 30 or 40 times this year already. Bitcoin is not dead. It is not going to die. It is here to stay. It's the largest, best proof of work cryptocurrency. It's the original. It's the number one reason people come into crypto or hear about it in the first place. So I think there's a ton of room to grow here. Sure, we maybe move to a more sustainable future for cryptocurrency. It's not the end of it, although be prepared for a very shaky next couple of weeks, even possibly months. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you found any other information useful, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications, give the video a thumbs up, and I shall see you in the next video. Cheers.